Today is Thursday, April 13th, 2023, 7 o'clock in the evening. This is the Bolton Select Board meeting. First up is a public hearing, and I will read the public hearing. The Select Board will hold a public hearing on Thursday, April 13th, 2023 at 7 p.m. using Zoom on the petition of National Grid to install one solely owned pole on Meadow Road, beginning at a point approximately 0 feet at the center line of the intersection of East Main Street and Meadow Road, and continuing approximately 2,140 feet in a southwest direction. The installation of one solely owned pole approximately 2,140 feet southwest of the intersection of East Main Street and Meadow Road. A copy of the petition is on file at the Select Board office, Town Hall, Bolton, and may be reviewed by appointment by contacting Jenny Jacobson, Administrative Assistant, at 978-779-2297. Any person interested or wishing to be heard on the proposed petition should appear at the time and place so designated. Do I have a motion to open up the public hearing?
So moved.
I'll second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Roll call, Sikansky,
Aye.
Waisaki.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. So do we have someone from,
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
yes, we can.
Yeah, hi, my name is Javier Morales. I'm here representing National Grid. And as you've highlighted, I'd like to request the approval of a grant of location for one brand new pole location on Meadow Road to serve two new single-family homes at that location.
Okay. I'm assuming that this is Don, this is related to some activity that we had with the planning board last meeting.
Given the location, I didn't think that it was, but I may be wrong about that.
It is not. It's in the section of Meadow Road that is being developed. However, it's closer to 117 from the lot 7 and 8 that seems to be what was most recently talked about.
Okay, okay.
Great. Thank you, Mark.
Yes, Mark, how are you this evening?
Doing well.
Okay, so I'm assuming you've taken a look at this, and are you okay with the location and the position of where the pole needs to be placed?
I met with Javier quite a few, probably over a month ago. This is sort of the section of Meadow Road that's under development is kind of a bee's nest. Javier, that pole location hasn't changed. It's still to the right of that driveway going up. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly where we had pointed it
Yeah.
out.
Yep. Javier and I spent a fair amount of time out there and trying to limit the impact to the road and what we felt was best to serve at least the first two homes there. So if that location is right where we staked it, I have no problem with it.
Okay. All right, if Mark's good with it, I'm fine with it.
I'm fine. So I'll make a motion.
Pardon me, you might want to ask for public comment and then close the hearing before you vote.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, any public comment from anyone in the audience? I don't see any hands up. Going once, going twice, sold. All right. I'll take a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
I'll second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Roll call, Sikansky,
Aye.
Waisaki.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
So
Do
I will
I,
move to approve the petition of National Grid to install one solely owned pole on Meadow Road, beginning at a point approximately 0 feet at the center line of the intersection of East Main Street and Meadow Road, and continuing approximately 2,140 feet in a southwest direction.
I will second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Roll call, Sikansky,
Aye.
Waisaki.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for all
All right.
involved. Appreciate it.
All set here.
Thank
Have a
you.
good evening. Thank you very
All
much.
right, thank you.
Morales.
Have a nice night. Thank you.
You as well. Bye-bye now.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank
All
you.
right, next up is an event request. We have a request from Cultivate Counseling to hold Farm Day, a ticketed special event on Saturday, May 13th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Megan Moran, are you with us this evening? I mean, she may not be here, given
She-
the fact. that
She
It
is
was here.
here.
Yeah, she's here.
I'm here.
We
I'm
can
here.
hear you.
Okay, great. Okay. Oh, yeah, great. I see it. Hi, Megan. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good.
Yes, so just requesting permission to have an event similar to ones we've had in the past. It will be ticketed. It will be from 10 to 3 on a Saturday, May 13th. Yeah, that's pretty much the information. People will come to the farm and be with the animals. We won't have so much traffic that we need any sort of police detail.
Okay. Bob, you have any
Um,
questions?
Yeah, my recollection is this is wholly within the agreement that was established a couple of years ago.
That is correct.
Yeah, I believe that Cultivate Counseling has had this in the past or something similar to this.
They have, and we have had no issues.
That's fine. I'm fine with it. Bob, you want to make a motion to approve?
Yeah, if there are no comments, I will approve the request from Cultivate Counseling to hold Farm Day, a ticketed special event on Saturday, May 13th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
I will second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Roll call, Sikansky,
Aye.
Waisaki.
Aye.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Megan. Good
Thank
luck
you
on
very
your.
much. Okay, thank you.
Thanks. All right. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
All right, next up is a sign approval, a request from the Boy Scouts of America Mayflower Council to place a temporary sign at 129 Hudson Road, and I believe that there's a second sign at the egress of the Boy Scout camp and the town beach. Christine Thorpe, are you with us? No, we don't have Christine Thorpe yet. Do you know if Christine was planning on attending?
I do not know.
Yes, she was, but she was on for 7:20. She actually called earlier today to confirm that time. So we
Okay.
might want to delay a little bit.
All right, let's see. Probably don't want to do the building project.
You could do the
No.
request from the Trails Committee. And Jenny, are we expecting anybody from the Trails Committee?
Yes, we are.
Okay,
Alrighty then. Well, we could do the town administrator report and get him out of the way.
there you go. Let's get him out of the way. That's always the low point of our meeting. So let's just do
Yeah.
that.
All right, be a nice lead into the,
Welcome back,
Fingers
Don.
Yeah, that's right. Welcome.
Can I interrupt? Because I see that Chris Thorpe just entered the meeting. So if we want to go back to our original schedule, we can do that.
Sure, why not?
Saved you, Don.
There you go. It's very apropos that we push off our town administrator. Christine, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Hi, how are you this evening?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Good. I understand that you have a temporary sign at 129 Hudson Road. I guess there's an old sign that kind of fell down and you've got something temporary as well as something advertising a open house. I think it's April 29th.
That is
And-
correct.
Then you also have another sign that's joined at the hip with the stop sign at
It is
the Boy Scout camp and the egress from the Bolton Town Beach. So,
correct. Correct. Yeah. So I think that the old sign, probably 20 or more years old, knew that we were buying a new sign, and the whole top of it just fell off the post. So obviously we didn't want to send the message that we had abandoned the property or we were closed. So we thought, let's just get a sandwich board and put that out. In fact, I'm thinking that the town will probably hear from our sign vendor in the next week about a permit for the new permanent sign. So we went ahead and did that. And then we did put out the open house sign. We wanted people driving by to see that, we will be there for people to stop by on the 29th. The directional sign at the end of the resident camp driveway normally doesn't go out until July, only because we have parents coming to pick their kids up the last day of camp would always pull into the resident camp, walk in to find out that they belonged at the other camp. So,
Right, right.
so I have no problem bringing, excuse me, bringing that one in until July. I'm assuming that it sounds like I will need permission to be able to do that. And so it would run from July 3rd, basically, until August 11th for that one.
I mean, I'm fine if you're gonna do that between those dates, I'm fine with approving that now. That's fine.
Okay, that'd be great.
Yeah, and I'm assuming you're gonna want it up for a bit for the open house as well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean,
Yeah.
I have a couple of people helping me do some cleanup, and they got overzealous and threw it in the truck. And the next thing I know, it's at the end of the driveway when it normally, like I said, wouldn't be out this time of year. But that would be helpful if people are looking for us for the open house. And then I can I can literally just move it over to the property, the White House at the end of the driveway that we own, and then it can come back out, for for the summer.
Sounds like a plan. Are you okay with that, Bob?
I am.
Okay.
I don't have the dates exactly written down. Do we need the dates exactly written down?
Well, I think I think the signs that are now through at least the 29th of April. And then the directional sign that's at the exit of Camp Resolute will be, I think it's July 11th.
3rd. I think it was July 3rd to August 11th. Is that
That's
right?
correct. Yep, that's correct.
Yeah,
Okay, and you said you're gonna be coming to us with a permanent sign?
Correct. We have a company called Sign Design. I think they're out of Brockton. So they have our design, and I can tell you, I've seen what the design is, but I don't know what the dimensions are yet.
Okay,
But they will take care of all the permitting process for that for us.
okay, so that, there's no overlap with this stuff then. Okay.
no.
No, there shouldn't be. There shouldn't be.
So I will move to approve the two signs for the Adventure Day Camp open house until April 29th. And the permanent Adventure Day Camp directional sign at the exit of Camp Resolute, starting July 3rd and going to the end of August.
I will second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
And just a quick question. So if we find out that the new permanent sign won't be in by the 29th, I would just come back to you folks for an extension.
Well, do you need that Adventure Day Camp sign after the 29th with the open house sign next to it?
The open house sign will come, that'll go away, but just having something that identifies that it is a camp, it's like a form of advertisement, really. It's like, hey, look, there is a property here.
Yeah, why don't we do an update at the end of the month? If you need, you okay with that, Stan?
I'm okay if they don't come back. I mean, it's fine with me. We know they're coming in with a new sign request. So if they want to leave it up for a little bit longer, I'm okay. I'm personally okay with it, as opposed to having Christine come back again.
Okay, I'll amend my motion to say that we'll approve the open house, the small open house sign until the 29th. We'll approve the Adventure Day Camp sign until the end of August, and we'll approve the directional sign from July 3rd to the end of August.
I'll second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye,
Roll call Sikansky,
aye,
Waisaki.
Aye.
And just for my own sake, when the sign permit comes in, they would still come to the select board with that new sign.
Yep.
yes.
Yes,
Okay.
if that's a requirement, yeah, that our vendor will come to you folks for that.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, Christine. We
All right,
appreciate
thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for.
Thanks.
Good luck with camp.
Have a great evening. Take care.
Thanks, you too. Good night.
All right, so I see Kirk is online, but Amy Cohen is not with us yet. And it's not quite 7:25, so perhaps Don, you might want to,
Amy will not be in attendance. Actually, it's just Kirk tonight.
it's just Kirk. Okay, well then, we'll we'll push you off again, Don.
That was my
Okay.
second false finish.
There you go.
I'm starting
you
to feel
go.
like Charlie Brown when he tries to kick the football.
There you go. All right, then. Well, then let's forge ahead. I see Kirk Downing is here, so let's do an update on the Neshoba Regional School District High School Building Project. Kirk, take it away. How are you this evening?
I'm doing great, Mr. Chair. How are you, sir?
Doing well, thank you. Doing well.
And Mr. Wysocki, always good to see you as well. I am currently housed in the principal's office of Mary Rollinson Elementary here in Lancaster, as I'm at a PTO meeting educating those residents on the building project as well. So I'm on skates, Stan, getting around and talking to people. So Ms. Jacobson, were we able to get board brief 4 and 5 to the board?
You're on mute, Jenny.
Yes, I forwarded both of those to the board.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, we have that.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Jacobson. I just wanted to know what to speak to. Okay, so for the board and for our residents who are observing, board brief number 4 is in front of you. This is a meeting that was held.
Excuse me, Jenny, can you post it? Since he's going to be talking about something other people should see. I assume that would help, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, Stan. All right, Bob, excuse me.
We answered almost anything, Kirk. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
my
Okay.
name's spelled the same frontwards and backwards, so I don't care how you pronounce it.
Guys, it's 7:15 and frankly, I just need a glass of water. And so to get my brain functioning quite right, but I appreciate it. Okay, great. So board brief 4 is a brief of our March 17th meeting, where the focus of really that building committee meeting was around the reimbursement rate considerations for the project. So the detail is in the brief, and you can find it in the minutes of the school building committee webpage on the agendas, I should say. But essentially what this means is we have an actual rate and an effective rate when it comes to rate considerations on the project. The MSBA is not a regulatory agency. It is a grant-funded agency that is a function of government. 1 penny for every 6.5% sale tax is dedicated to MSBA, and that's their funding mechanism. And so what they do to participate in providing grants to towns that do building projects is they set what their reimbursement rate would be, and that is based very closely to how the equalization value of towns is set to determine what their percentage would be in participation. And ours would set at the very beginning at 49.53% of eligible costs. And not all costs in a project are eligible costs, but they're required to conduct your project. With incentive points that we've been able to build through our project, that rate increases to 53.09% of eligible costs. But as I said, there are some costs that are ineligible costs I think of which the easiest to explain would be site costs. So site costs participation is capped at 10% of the cost of the building, not the project, but the cost of the building. And a typical rule of thumb is that all the site work in a project comes in around 18 to 20% of the building costs. So you can then do the math. MSBA would not participate in that 8 to 10% of the site cost, but they're required to get your site into the condition that you need it to be. So that's just one example, but there are other examples of where the MSBA doesn't participate. Like we're following the guidelines for seats in a theater, but if we wanted to add 100 seats to our theater, that would be non-reimbursable costs, for instance. So what you have in front of you on board brief 4 are just rough estimates. That's all they are. On Tuesday of this week, the schematic design was sent off to the cost estimators. And right now, the OPM and the architect both send it to their cost estimators. They'll be getting those back in early May, and they will work together to come up with those costs, present them to the school building committee on May 12th, at which point there will be a follow-up joint meeting of the school building committee and the school committee on May 18th to review the costs that come back from the cost estimator. What I will educate the public and this board about at that time is that moment is not necessarily the moment of the cost of the project. It's the place where we start having the discussions about what the costs of the project are. Are there other efficiencies we need to find? And while still ensuring that we can deliver the educational plan. So there's still lots of time to go. It's at that time that our bond attorney will get the numbers from the cost estimator and start getting to work on what that potential bond plan would look like in conjunction with guidance from our financial advisors. So that sort of wraps up board brief 4 in a very general way. Board brief 5 complements that, gives a basic project status update. One of the things that we're exploring is geothermal heating energy sources for the high school. So there's some information there. But what you're going to see in very fine print is the project schedule. You can see the project schedule in detail by going to the school building committee website, where all these documents are posted. You will see the design on the conceptual rendering is continuing to evolve, where the yellow and red lines indicate the traffic patterns that we anticipate, the yellow being the bus traffic, the red being the student and parent drop-off and faculty traffic. You will also notice we had a brief conversation with this board once before about how closely we were encroaching on the wetland buffer. I'm happy to say that the road that does circumvent the building as required is now in a place where we think it's roughly around the same amount of hard top that is currently in the wetland buffer, which is encouraging when ultimately we need to get those kind of waivers from conservation. But those are yet to be determined. And frankly, we won't even get to those places until a construction manager is on board and the architectural renderings are done in much more detail. But the concept is showing that it will work. So without going into more detail in the interest of time, I'll pause there and solicit any questions that the board may have.
Thanks, Kurt.
You bet.
We appreciate that. In the meeting that was held on the 27th, which was the public forum, I guess, number 6.
Yeah.
There was one slide. I know you had a lot of slides with eligible reimbursement rates and effective rates.
Yeah.
But there was a slide that said that at least at this point in time, as of the 27th, they were estimating that the cost of the school would be between $225 and $235 million bucks.
Yeah.
And that based upon what the effective eligible reimbursement rate that the district would be on the hook for between 175 and 185. Which if you just kind of take the middle point, which is 180, and kind of divide by 3, which I know it's not a perfect third, that's about 60 million. At some point last year, I believe Don Lowe had reached out to the district to get some idea of what the estimated cost would be. And at the time, I forget who Don had, might have been actually Pat before she had decided to retire.
Actually, Mr. Chairman,
Got to
excuse
figure
me,
it out.
I'd just like to clarify, it was actually the district who reached out to the 3 town administrators. And it was Pat, who was the business manager at the time, needed to get approximations from the towns as part of the MSBA process. So that's what initiated that.
Right.
Initiated that. And at the time, Pat indicated that Bolton's number would be about 44 million and use an interest rate of 5.5%. So from that point to now, because we had done some rough calculation of what the cost per average taxpayer would be for the new school, and sort of the delta between 44 and 60 is about 36%. So I don't know if costs have escalated between then and now, or is the 175 to 185 a better number?
Yeah,
you can't get to 44 million with 175 to 185.
I get it. So, Mr. Chair, I guess there's actually some layers there. Let me talk about the first time when Pat reached out to Dawn's office on that. That was one of those perfunctory exercises you have to do to submit paperwork to the MSBA in an effort to say, give us rounded estimates. And it's just based upon, well, what kind of projects are out there and what are their prices per square foot? And so I'm not making equivocation to this, but what I would say is, like, for instance, on board brief 4, you'll see a reference to right now, a building cost is 790 square feet in today's dollars. Well, in pricing out the building, you look at the midpoint of construction, the cost of construction at the midpoint of the project to do your cost estimates. So if you were to say put 4% escalation costs onto that 790 to the midpoint of the construction, we're estimating, well, our team, I'll say we, because I'm part of that team, but our professionals are estimating it's going to be somewhere around $912 a square foot when you build on those escalation costs. And Skanska historically has been pretty on point with their escalation costs. We've done a little bit of research on that. So the difference in that, Mr. Wysocki, is frankly had nothing to do with any study to the project at all. It just had to do with, okay, what generally is out there, what's a percentage, so we could submit paperwork to the MSBA, and that's all they were asking for us. So it wasn't an actual number. The numbers that you're referencing, those same numbers were presented to the community back in I believe it was November, when we had public forum 3 and selected site 4D as the optimal site for the project. Those same numbers you just referenced were published at that point in time as well. So, that's the best that they're working with today.
Right.
The real answer is going to come in the middle of May. And to say I'm not nervous about it wouldn't be telling the truth. The bottom line is it's going to be the cost to build a building. And the MSBA is a grant agency that elects to participate if we elect to build. And in the end, it's going to be a big price tag. We recognize that.
Yep. No, thanks, Fred. I appreciate it. Bob, you got any questions? I have one after you're done, Bob.
No, I don't have a question. I don't want to be coy here. Everyone should know that I'm a member of the building committee, so I've been attending all of these meetings and heard all the presentations. I would like to follow up on some comments that were made earlier this week in a public debate. There were a couple of statements made that I think were incomplete, possibly to the point of being misleading in some regards. One is that this building project is a $300 million project. I have no idea where the person who said that got that information. All they said before they announced that they thought it was a 300 is that they think there's some technology that's not in the plan that's going to be needed, and that causes them to think it's going to be a $300 million project. This project is, if there's an increase in this project above the 225 or 235, it's going to be for reasons such as the war in Europe expands, or something happens in the Pacific, or there's some dramatic world event. But it's not going to be because all of a sudden we realize that we need some more or different technology. That those assumptions are completely baked into the estimates that we have now. The other, so I think the $300 million was just, there's no basis for it as we sit here today. The second issue is the vote that's going to occur in the fall. I want to clarify a bit on that so that people don't, when we get there, people don't think there was some kind of bait and switch. The vote that the towns will have in the fall is whether or not to accept the school committee's proposal to incur debt for this school. It's not specifically a review of the proposal and do you like this plan up or down? The school committee is going to vote to incur debt. upwards of a couple $100 million. And it's then up to the towns to say yes or no. That's what is going to be on the ballot in the fall. So thank you. I just wanted to clarify those two items.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it.
Mr. Chair, may I add
Yes.
on to that answer if you mind?
Sure.
And we will have those town meetings, as Mr. Sikansky indicated, followed up with a ballot election in order to, it's got to be a Prop 2.5, not an incurring debt, but a debt exclusion ballot election that follows that. Because the incurring debt is essentially, think of it as drawing the loan, and then the debt exclusion vote is how then you pay it. So there'll be two civic processes that will be coming in September as a result of that.
Okay, great. No, thanks. I appreciate that, Kirk. For me, one last thing. I know that at the last building committee meeting, my colleague Bob had asked about the bond rating for the district. I know the finance director, Mr. McCarron, had replied.
Yeah.
I to that, I believe when you had presented to the 3 finance committees of the town back in February, I think it was like the 28th.
Yeah.
I don't recall hearing much relative to what the district's plan was to manage the OPEB requirement. And I know that OPEB is good. Certainly, we know firsthand from us in the town that OPEB and trying to meet the requirements to get to the end point in 2035 or whatever it is an important factor with Standard & Poor's as far as bond ratings. Can you comment on since we didn't hear much in February, what the plan is to try to address that from the district's perspective?
I sure can. And what I'll do is come at it from two places. When we think of the bond rating, the point of leverage that we have right now that will have the biggest effect for us to improve that bond rating, which is a double A, you guys know the metrics better than I do, the AA plus rating, or
I think you're AA2 at the moment.
Thank you. The tool we have in front of us that we have the most agility to work with is the E&D balance. And the school district's E&D balance was coming out of the pandemic almost fully utilized. In the FY22 budget, we utilized 1.2 million, and it was certified at 1.24. So we now have a little more buffer in our E&D balance, as you saw from the budget presentations that were conducted this year. So working with Mr. Mulcahy, we're looking for future strategies in our budget to look at costs that are going to help us there. At school committee just last night, the Budget and Warrant School Committee addressed to put on the request for the agenda to form a OPEB advisory group that is going to be a focus group that digs into OPEB so that we can develop a long-term strategy on how we're going to be able to address the OPEB liability trust over the course of time. So we don't have a strategy painted for OPEB today, but the wheels are beginning to strike in motion to do that.
Great. No, that's super. Appreciate that and look forward to hearing more about that. So, thank you, Kurt. We appreciate the update about the school building project. I know that there's a lot of work that has to be done between now and September when we have the special town meeting. So, let us know what we can do to help.
Mr. Chair, if I may offer one more point, and it was a question that came from this committee. There was a question about the accreditation of the high school and when we're up for that accreditation again. So I found some paperwork just recently. The accreditation process was done in 2015 with a follow-up, the original. Then there's a follow-up 2 years later in 2017. And that's where the notations are cited around risk of losing accreditation if the building issues aren't addressed. We are up again for accreditation in 2026.
Okay. Great. No, thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank you for clarifying that.
Yep.
I think that's something that the public needs to get more information on.
Thank you, Mr. Skansky. We are building that communication, and we will certainly be sharing that with the community as we get closer.
Okay,
Great.
thank you.
Thanks very much. Coach.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate
Appreciate
it.
it.
Thank you, Jenny.
Great. Have a good evening. Thanks. All right. Bye-bye now. All right, great. Next up is a request from the Bolton Trails Committee for approval of a trail segment across town land adjoining existing trails and providing connectivity along a larger southwest segment across town. Andrew, are you with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Good evening. How
All
are you?
right. I'm doing okay. Is there a way you guys can present, or do you want me to present the map, or I can just talk to it if?
Jenny, do you have the map? Up?
Yes, I can share that.
Okay,
All
great.
right, thank you. So this trail, this existing trail starts at the top right of this map. I don't know if you can zoom in a little bit, but at the top right is Main Street.
Okay.
Yep. And right next to the Clinton Savings Bank, right? If you scroll a little bit to the right, the trail starts right by the end of the lacrosse field. And this is an existing trail already in town.
Mhm.
And it goes south and then west, right? And basically comes out at the septic building at the Derby Fields. And the trail like ends pretty much right there. And it goes along an old railway bed. It's shown in a red dot at that exit point. And the SB is the septic building.
Okay.
So what I'm proposing is to continue this trail all the way to Berlin Road, following that existing railway bed, all the way to the soccer field at Florence Sawyer. It's going to head south along the edge of the soccer fields, and that's going to be under a restoration project that's treated separately. And then it's going to hop into the woods a little bit south of the soccer fields,
Okay.
following some high ground away from any wetlands and vernal pools. It actually bisects a few wet areas conveniently.
Mhm.
It's going to hook up with an existing cart track that's shown on the left side there. It
Mhm.
goes pretty much right from the shipping containers at the end of the parking lot near the soccer fields. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but there's a cart track that pretty much goes to the left arrow on where it says existing cart track.
Mhm.
And then it then continues down into the valley of an existing stream. If you scroll to the left a little bit, if you don't mind, Jenny. It goes over an existing bridge that's probably from the 1990s era, back when
Okay.
people were utilizing these trails probably for the cross-country ski team back in the day. When the school had a cross-country ski team, and then heads north to that green dot. And the idea is, there's a Bolton Conservation Trust property in that skinny segment that you see on the other side of Berlin Road. And the idea would be to eventually continue the trail up through that parcel next to the winery. And there's some other conservation area up there. So it's kind of connecting that existing trail that I talked to along the railway bed, and then going all the way to Berlin Road to connect with some other conservation land.
Great. Looks good. Looks good.
So this is town-owned land. It's not conservation land. So it's ultimately the select board's decision. I have filed an RDA through the help of Rebecca Buchaya, the conservation agent. And I hope to get a decision of whether you'd allow this on the town land.
Yeah, my understanding is the Conservation Commission voted in favor of recommending this, I think, on the 21st of March.
Yeah, that's correct.
So, yeah, I think it's great. I'm good with that. I think it's great.
Yeah. I've been assured that it's not going to interfere with the renovations at Derby Field, and the renovations at Derby Field won't interfere with this. So I think this is a good idea. I've been back there. I wondered how you got across. This is the first time I've seen some maps like this, which is nice, but this would be great.
Yeah.
So I move to let's see, approve the request of the Bolton Trails Committee for a trail segment across town land adjoining existing trails and providing connectivity along larger southwest segment across town from Derby Field, from the septic building to Berlin Road.
I will second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye,
Roll call, Sikansky
aye.
and Waisaki.
Aye.
Thank you.
No, great work.
All right, thank you very much. I
Yes, thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.
Get out there before the mosquitoes do.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
So definitely there. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Yeah.
And now, the segment that everyone has been waiting for.
Yeah, no more teasing, okay?
No, we're not gonna, no more teasing. This is it. The one and only town administrator report. Don, you are on.
All right, time to do the reveal. All right, so I have previously presented my 1 and 5 year capital plan at advisory, and I know the select board was in attendance. The purpose for tonight is to review and hopefully approve the funding for the projects that require ARPA funding. But just to recap, the total amount of money that needs to be spent or is proposed to be spent on capital projects adds up to $1,247,991, of which $248,000 would come from Chapter 90 to pay for a spreader dump body and a dump sander, and $345,000 for a new roof for the fire station, which would come from the stabilization fund, which leaves a total of $654,991 that would come from ARPA funding. And specifically, within that, $185,991 would go towards the 3 capital projects that I reviewed and approved for the school district: 2 at Florence Sawyer, 1 for the second floor carpet removal and tile replacement, and the second for the fuel tank monitoring system, and 1 at Emerson for the cafe sliding door removal. Then for the other DPW requests, it's all building related, and all of this activity was recommended in the building review study, the building study that was commissioned. So this all comes straight out of that report. As far as the individual buildings, the public safety building, $129,600. The Houghton building, $13,200. Town hall, $59,500. The library, $57,200. The DPW itself, $94,500 for a grand total of $654,991. So it is my request tonight that the board vote to approve that sum of money in ARPA spending towards the capital building projects.
I'm fine with it. I mean, we certainly have discussed this in the past, and we discussed it during the annual town meeting warrant, putting that together. So I'm fine with all that stuff. Bob,
and-
any questions?
No, as you said, we've discussed this multiple times before. I'm comfortable with it.
And just in case you're wondering, the current figure of remaining ARPA funds, given that you had to allocate additional funds for the library sewer project, we currently are looking at $197,113.80. But I believe that figure will go up because we still have allocated for the Sawyer Road culvert an amount of roughly $114,000. I have the exact number in front of me, but we believe we will be able to take the two budget earmarks that Representative Hogan acquired for us, one in FY22, one in FY23, and apply those to the Sawyer Road culvert, which will free up those committed ARPA funds. We have a meeting with the appropriate representative from the state next week to be able to lay our hands on those funds and actually have those transferred into town accounts. So if that happens, our balance will get back up to about $300,000. So again, my heartfelt thank you to Representative Hogan, who has done a great job getting us additional money for culverts.
Absolutely. No, I think it's great. So yeah, so
Very
I'm fine with the capital plan and the ARPA funds we need to.
Right, so I will move to approve $654,991 of ARPA funds for the capital projects outlined this evening.
I will second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye,
Roll call, Sikansky,
aye,
Waisaki.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I don't have anything else for this evening, but I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
No, I'm fine. Bob, anything?
no,
So,
I have no
not-
public service
We'll
announcements
move
or
on.
agenda items.
Select board business. Okay, do we have any public service announcements tonight? Bob?
No,
Okay, neither do I. Future agenda item discussions. Bob?
No,
No, not me at this time, perhaps later, but not right now. Approve the bills and payroll warrants, W 23-20 and W 23-20A. Do I have a motion to approve?
so moved.
Second, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye,
Roll call, Sikansky,
aye,
Waisaki.
Aye.
Thank you.
And last are minutes. I believe we have regular session minutes of March 16th. Is that correct, Jenny?
That is correct.
Okay, and I believe there were no changes to those minutes.
Also correct.
Okay,
so I will move to approve the minutes of March 16th, regular session.
I will second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye,
Roll call, Sikansky
aye,
and Waisaki.
Aye.
Thank you.
Anything else we need to discuss? I don't think so, but Bob, you good? Okay, then I'll take a motion to adjourn.
so moved.
I will second that. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye,
Roll call, Sikansky
aye,
and Waisaki.
Aye.
Thank you. And the time is 7:48 for the record.
Yes,
Great.
thank you. Have a
Thanks,
great
everyone.
night and enjoy the